NYPD's breaking news.
Who came out this morning to stand with us. Your presence sends a powerful message. We will not allow hate or fear to define us, and we will always stand together for one another in this beloved city we all call home. Thank you.
Thank you to Eric Goldstein and the UJ Federation for their leadership and partnership. My name is Mark Traeger, the CEO of the Jewish Community Relations Council of New York. I've also been joined by a number of organizations here, Teach, ADL, AJC, Agudath, IAC. We appreciate them and so many leaders who are with us today. And also want to acknowledge again up front the big thanks to the NYPD for their incredible work bringing forward the suspect immediately, and Commissioner Tisch and her team were very responsive throughout the day. So we want to acknowledge that. Yes, let's give it up to the NYPD. I think they deserve a round of applause. As Eric mentioned, our hearts are with the victims, their families, and the entire Upper West Side community following the horrific stabbing near the Jewish Center. We're praying for the Jewish and Asian victims of this brutal attack. And as we thank the PD, we also, we've been in touch with the DA's office, and we expect the DA to fully prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. And we appreciate their outreach as well. Whether or not this attack is ultimately prosecuted as a hate crime, its impact is already being felt. In a city where anti-Semitism continues to account for the largest share of reported hate crimes year after year, a reality we desperately wish did not exist, fear has become a lived experience for far too many Jewish New Yorkers. That is not normal. Today, Jewish parents are asking whether it is safe for their children to wear a kippah or a Magen David in public. Synagogues preparing for Shabbat are wondering whether they can afford additional security. Camp directors fielding calls from anxious parents whether it's safe to send their kids to camp. This attack also reminds us that hatred rarely stops with one community. We stand in solidarity with our Asian American neighbors who know all too well the devastating consequences of rhetoric that fueled hatred and violence during the pandemic. Words matter. Leadership matters. The climate we create matters. No elected official is responsible for every act of hate, but every leader is responsible for helping shape the climate in which we all live. At a time when one of the most common manifestations of anti-Semitism is the dangerous practice of holding all Jews collectively responsible for disagreements with the policies of the Israeli government. Responsible leadership requires lowering the temperature, not raising it. I think about it as well at the Park Slope Food Co-op at a board meeting where Jews were called Nazis. I think about Sion Cafe in Harlem, where they had to, an Ethiopian Israeli immigrant owner, business owner, had to partially close her business because of rising hate. New York's greatest strength is that people of every faith, race, and background can live openly, worship freely, and stand together. That is the city we must defend, and we will defend, with moral clarity, responsible leadership, and unwavering commitment to reject hatred in every form with every fiber of our being. And it gives me great honor to introduce some of our leaders and friends who are with us today. I want to begin by acknowledging and calling up to say a few words our Comptroller of the City of New York, Mark Levine.
Thank you to my brother Mark and the JCC. Thank you to Eric and the UJA family. To Rabbi Levine and the Jewish Center community, we are standing with you at this moment of pain and anguish. To the victims, Mr. Chok Sung, Mr. Moshe Grunhaus, I don't know if you can hear us, but we want you to know we are praying for you, for your full and speedy recovery. We're standing with you and your family and your community and demanding that no one ever be subjected to this kind of heinous act again. To the NYPD, thank you for acting swiftly. To the Shomrim, thank you for being first on the scene. To the Asian American community, and specifically the Chinese American community, we know that you are in pain this morning as well. It's very meaningful that we're joined today by my friend and partner in government, Councilmember Susan Chuang, and other Asian American leaders. We appreciate you. And we know that while the epidemic of anti-Asian hate is not so much in the news anymore, it has not abated, and that Asian Americans continue to live with it, and we stand in outrage with you. Your pain is our pain. We are with you 1,000% in this fight. Mr. Grunbaum was leaving Jewish Center yesterday. He had been davening, praying, going to a service for one of the most solemn dates, arguably the most solemn date on the Jewish calendar of Tisha B'Av, which is a date that commemorates the destruction of the temples in Jerusalem and many, many other destructions and expulsions, acts of persecution and violence that have occurred on this date against the Jewish community over many centuries. And the reasons for each of those individual acts of horror may have varied by time and place, but again and again and again at their root was hatred of the Jewish people. And we are feeling hatred right now. We are feeling it in social media, we're feeling it on the streets, we're feeling it in colleges, we're feeling it in politics. And we are sick and tired of it. New Yorkers have put their heart and Jewish New Yorkers have put their heart and soul into this city for generations. We are integral to the history of this city. There is no New York without us. And we feel disregarded and disrespected and targeted through hateful rhetoric directed at us, directed at our students, directed at our young people, directed at our institutions, directed at our symbols. We would be outraged now if yesterday's act was a one-off, but it was not. There were 178 acts of anti-Semitic hate crimes against Jewish New Yorkers in the first 6 months of this year. Nazi graffiti, physical assaults, everything in between, directed at us, a community that amounts to no more than 12% of the city, which is the victim in well over half of the hate crimes. We are undeniably being disproportionately targeted again and again and again. We are not going to stand for it anymore. We are demanding that the targeting of the Jewish community, that's the singling out of the Jewish community, that the endless demonization of this community stop. We have a right, like every other community in this city, like the Asian American community, like the African American community, like the Latino community. We have a right to live without fear. We are demanding that right. We will not stop. We will not leave. We will be here. We will be fighting. We will come together against this scourge. Am Yisrael Chai.
I want to just say that last night we got in touch with the Attorney General and immediately expressed her solidarity and support with the community, with all communities, Jewish, Asian, all the communities of New York. We greatly appreciate the fact that she moved everything around to be here today. Please welcome Attorney General Letitia James.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
First, I am so glad and want to thank all of the first responders. I'm glad that the two individuals are recovering from their injuries, that they're in stable condition. I want to thank the first responders, and I also want to thank the Good Samaritans who came to their aid. It's really critically important that individuals understand that New Yorkers do stand together. And so I truly want to thank the first responders and the Good Samaritans. I also want to thank members of the NYPD for their quick response in apprehending the individual who was responsible for these two crimes. So I truly want to thank NYPD always. I also want to say that I had the opportunity to speak to the police commissioner as well as the local district attorney, and they have asked me not to draw any conclusions as a result of last night's event. so I don't want to draw any conclusions. What I do want to say is that it's really critically important that individuals understand that anti-Semitic acts have been growing in the city of New York. It's really critically important. And then also acts against the Asian community have also been on the increase. So it's important that I stand with my Jewish friends, that I stand with my Asian friends, that I let everyone know that there should not be any space between any of us, that we should stand together against any form of hate, any act of hate in the city and the state of New York, that it will not be tolerated. It's important that the Jewish community understand and know that they are not alone, that I and others in the African American community stand together. It's also important that members of the Asian community know that I and members of the African American community stand with them, and that hate will not be tolerated in this city and or in this state. I'm praying for the city, I'm praying for the state, I'm praying for this nation. I'm praying for everyone, obviously, who recognizes that we're all in this together, that we're all God's children, and that it's important that we not assign any particular outcome to this investigation. It's an unassailable truth that we cannot leave any one community to bear the burden of hate and fear alone. That combating anti-Semitism and hate against the Asian community is a responsibility of all of us, all New Yorkers, all Americans. And it's important that individuals stand up and stand side by side with the Jewish community and the Asian community whenever there is an act of hate. I know that the news of yesterday's attack, particularly in the Jewish community, was terrifying to many, particularly since it was a holy day. And it's important that individuals understand that we will always fight for an individual's right, and that the Jewish community is seen, and that the Jewish community is protected. And that I, as the Attorney General, as the law enforcement officer of the state of New York, will stand with the Jewish community and use every tool in my toolbox to protect them each and every day. And the same holds true for the Asian community as well. Hate will not be tolerated in this city and or in this state. And it's important that we say that loudly and clearly. It's important that we reaffirm that hate and violence have no place in New York. So let us commit ourselves to doing the good and necessary work of standing up together, shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, with no space between us. Hate will not be tolerated. I would hope and urge that the District Attorney of Manhattan investigates this matter, as well as the Police Commissioner. I would hope that they would come back and report their findings to this community, and I would hope that justice will be served here in the city and in the state of New York. And I thank all of my colleagues for being here today, and I will continue to stand with the Jewish community and the Asian community whenever they call. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Attorney General. Next, I'd like to welcome a leader who immediately, actually one of the first calls I received to express solidarity and support with all of our impacted communities. We thank her for her leadership. Please welcome the Speaker of the City Council, Julie Minnitt.
Thank you so much, Mark. First of all, thoughts and prayers to the victims. Obviously, we are very glad to hear that they are both in stable condition. I also want to thank the NYPD for their incredible and swift work. And we appreciate the work that they do each and every day. I spoke to the Manhattan DA this morning. I know that he is launching a swift and thorough investigation into this matter. I also want to express solidarity to the Asian community, and I want to thank my colleague, Councilmember Susan Zhuang, who's always stood with the Jewish community in very, very difficult times. So thank you so much, and all of the electeds who are here today. So I'm standing here not only as the first Jewish speaker of the New York City Council, but I'm standing here as a Jewish mother of 4 kids. And the conversations that I have had to have with my kids recently are just really heartbreaking. My daughter wears a Jewish star, and the conversations I've had with my husband about, is this the right thing to do? Should she not wear the Jewish star? Is it safe for her to wear a Jewish star? Is it safe for our sons to wear a yarmulke? It's just heartbreaking, and it's shocking, and it's unacceptable. Whether it was several months ago where I was in Gravesend in Brooklyn, where I witnessed 73 swastikas painted onto playground equipment, or in Queens recently, where enormous swastikas were spray painted not only onto a shul, but actually onto people's homes. It's intolerable what is happening. It's unacceptable. This cannot be normalized. When those of us who go to Shabbat services and we go into a synagogue and there are armed guards outside of the synagogue, how can this be normal? We have to change what is happening in our city. We in the City Council, and the first act I did as speaker was to introduce our 5-point plan to combat anti-Semitism, to do a buffer zone bill around houses of worship. The fact that we even have to do this kind of legislation, it is unacceptable. We cannot normalize what is happening in our city. We have to bring the temperature down. We have to change the rhetoric. Words matter, and we all have a responsibility to bring that temperature down. So I'm here in solidarity with the Asian community, who I know is in pain. I'm here in solidarity with our Jewish community, who is experiencing intolerable pain. I know that as a daughter and granddaughter of Holocaust survivors, we know that what is happening right now to our community cannot continue. This just has to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker, for your leadership. I'd like to welcome one of the largest leaders of organization, South Asian, but also serves all communities. And we appreciate his partnership and solidarity through these moments, good and bad, hopefully only good. But please welcome, and I want to welcome him, the leader of COPO, Mo Rosvi, and he'll be joined by interfaith leaders from Reverend James Lynch, Imam Shahidullah, and Sheikh Musa Drama. Please welcome Mo Rosvi.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, everyone. If I can have my imams come forward, and my rabbis, and also our reverend. My name is Mohammed Razvi. I'm the president of Muslim Day Parade and the CEO of Council of People's Organization. We have over about 35 organizations that work with us of Muslim faith. We are here always standing together with our Jewish community, our Asian community, anytime that there's a hate. This hate crime or anti-Semitism, anti-Asian incident, this violent crime, we are going to stand together to make our voices heard, that this is not what New York is about. New York is coming together, standing together like those good Samaritans who went and found that person and got the PD to get him arrested. We need to stand together when there's people talking, elected officials talking incorrectly, but the communities that are here, we have been working collectively, especially with Rabbi Potaznik. I remember over 25 years, I was just mentioning earlier, with UJA and JCRC. Over 25 years coming together to make sure we let our communities know that we are one community. We are one New York. And that's what we have to emphasize. We are not going to stand by the side, because today may be the Jewish community, the Asian community. Tomorrow it'll be another community. It'll be LGBT community who's going to have these hate crimes happening against them. Please, I request everyone and all the interfaith community to always stand together. Hate against one of us is against all of us. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you, Mo.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mo, and to our interfaith leaders, and we're going to hear from additional folks shortly. But we've also been joined by the public advocate of the city of New York, and had a chance to also speak to him yesterday. He expressed solidarity with all the impacted communities. I appreciate him being here today. Please welcome public advocate Jemani Woods.
Thank you. Peace and blessings, love and light to everybody. Shalom Aleichem. Yesterday, first of all, thank you, Mark. Thank you for everyone who helped bring us together. Yesterday is another painful day in the city of New York. We saw an intersectionality of so many things that we are fighting against. We saw someone who may have been in an erratic mental health state We see attacks on Jewish New Yorker and Asian New Yorkers. I do know, irrespective of the final analysis of yesterday's events, communities are in pain, and understandably so. We know that hate crimes are up in general. We know specifically anti-Semitic attacks are up. We know that anti-Asian attacks are up. It is reasonable to understand why communities, when they're watching the news of attacks of a Jewish New Yorker and an Asian New Yorker or a visitor, are scared. And we have to take that seriously. You should be able to walk down the street and be visibly Jewish and not be afraid. You should be able to walk down the street and be Asian and not be afraid, and simply be worried about how long it's going to take you to get where you're going and be mad at the traffic and the people walking in front of you. That's what you should be thinking about as you're going through New York. But because of the climate we're in, communities are afraid. And that is where we all have to take collective responsibility to make sure what we are saying does not feed into that. And that is not the responsibility of one person or two people. It is the responsibility of all of us. And so everyone who is here and everyone who can hear me talking, I'm hoping that we take that responsibility serious. There is a lot happening. There is a lot we're concerned. We're trying to govern in some tumultuous times, but we have to do it in love and understanding the fears that people are going through. And the reason I wanted to be here as public advocate of the city of New York was irrespective of the facts of any one particular case. It is because I hear from my constituents the fear that they have walking down the street, just being who they are, and the faith that they have. That universally should be unacceptable to all of us. And I really hope that it is, not just in words, but in actions. Because when people watch the news, when people listen, they hear what we're saying. And even if you are unfortunately dealing with mental health issues, you too hear what people are saying. That gets stuck in your mind. That gets stuck in whatever you're going through. And so I'm just asking all of us, me included, we all have to take stock of what we're saying and how we're saying it, so we don't feed what is already in the atmosphere. All I'm asking is whatever we're going to say, see if it moves through the language of love. And if it doesn't, see if we can augment what we're saying. Because yesterday was very, very scary. And regardless of the facts, these communities have a right to stand up and say, I am afraid based on what is happening in the city of New York. And I want the Jewish community, the Asian community, all communities to know that I, as public advocate, will stand with them to make sure that they are not just safe, but feel safe. And I am so proud to see the diverse community that is here today saying if one person is hurting, we are all hurting, and the work is not finished until we all feel safe and can walk down the street simply thinking about where we're going and telling people, please get out of my way, you are blocking me. Thank you so much. Peace and blessing. Love and light to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Public Advocate, for those powerful words. We have some additional speakers, but I want to call up, she is Brooklyn's first Chinese American council member, someone who before elected to the city council, when I was in the council during the pandemic, and Coney Island Hospital did not have N95 masks for their staff. And when the president at the time, who's now the president now, referred to COVID as the China virus, which increased attacks against our Asian neighbors, she got boxes of N95 masks to the hospital staff. That's the leadership, and that's what she demonstrated, solidarity with our community, and I thank her for being here today, and we are solidarity with her community, Councilmember Susan Zhuang.
you everyone for coming today, and I want to thank Mark Traeger especially. Every time, no matter if the issue in Jewish community or Asian community, we all stand here together. And also yesterday when I hear that horrific attack, it's painful to me myself. It's not only just one Jewish member and one Asian member get attacked. It's an attack on every single one of us. Because when we send our kids to school, as Speaker Julie Manning said, she have to discuss at home, should their kids wear stars or should the kids wear Yamaha? I also discuss with my kids. I have 2 daughters go to elementary school. A lot of time I ask, do you know what race you are? When my daughter was 6 years old, she said she's black. And also, a lot of time they tell me their friends have fear when they go to school. Will ICE come after them? This is a fear even the elementary school students has. And the attack itself, it's painful. And also we see a lot of painful attack online also. And also by language. When hateful language become normalized, it creates an environment where violence can follow. We cannot ignore that reality. My thought and prayer are with the victim and their families. I wish them strength, healing, and full recovery. I'm also grateful that suspect was caught so justice can move forward. As the first Chinese American elected to New York City Council from Brooklyn, and also as an immigrant, hate is not something I read about every day in Chinese community, but it's something in my community and I experience every single day. Even if not always mentioned in the paper or wrote on the paper, Asian hate has not decreased. Too often it's been simply ignored. The violence, the harassment, the fear continue even when the cameras move on. Our community is still living with consequences, and too many people suffering in silence. And also I want to share why I ran for city council. Because during COVID time, when our kids play in the park, the other kids throw stone on them saying, go back to China. And they were born here. So it is painful when we see any member, no matter if the Jewish member or Asian member, has a hateful experience, hateful speech or comments, or the attack like happened yesterday. This is not acceptable to me. This is not just an Asian issue or Jewish issue. The hate does not stop in one community. A lot of time its hate continues. When a Jewish New Yorker get attacked, New Yorkers are afraid, not only just in Jewish community. When Asian New Yorkers is attacked, all New Yorkers are affected. Attack motivated by hate against one is a hate against all of us. That's why we must stand together. We cannot allow anyone to divide us by race, religion, or ethnic. We must speak out against anti-Semitism, anti-Asian hate, any hate. There's no form of hate should allowed in New York City. Love must be stronger than hate. Unity must be stronger than division. And the courage must stronger than fear. Together, we as a city should build a place every New Yorker feels safe, every New Yorker feels respected, and every person get valued. I want to thank everyone here, and also want to thank NYPD. Works very hard for all the New Yorkers, and I want to thank everyone. We need to be united and work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan, and thank you to the district leaders that joined her, Larry, He, Joyce Shi, and Jackie Wong. Thank you so much. Next, please welcome the Assembly Member Upper Manhattan, an ally, someone who demonstrates leadership, bringing folks together, Assembly Member Michael Lasher.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you to all of my colleagues and community leaders, to Councilmember Zhuang, the Asian community, my heart is with you. To the interfaith leaders who are here, thank you so much. To Rabbi Levine, to Rabbi Schwartz, with whom I spoke yesterday in Israel, our hearts are with you, and we are grateful to you for the work that you do every day to make this a strong, joyous, safe community. And to the NYPD for their incredibly swift and effective work yesterday in apprehending the attacker. My heart goes out to Chok Sung and to Moshe Grunhaus and to their families. Our prayers are with them for a full recovery. The stabbings yesterday have shaken me as they have shaken so many of my friends and neighbors. All of us have a right to be safe and feel safe in this city, and that is not the feeling on the Upper West Side or in New York's Jewish community today. And I want to speak from my heart as a proud member of that community with as much care and candor as I can. Whatever facts unfold about the motivations of the attacker, we already have seen more than enough tragedy to know that overheated rhetoric in the political arena can lead to anti-Semitic violence. All of us in positions of power have a responsibility to use our voices to create unity and not division, to promote calm and not anger. That applies to me and to all of us here today in how we respond to this attack, which was, in the end, the act of a depraved individual. And it applies to anyone whose efforts to demonize the world's sole Jewish state go well beyond criticism of the Israeli government and its actions. When a place, and by extension, the people who are inextricably linked with that place, are singled out, compared to the worst evildoers in human history, blamed for problems half a world away, the space between rhetoric and violence can vanish. I beseech all those in a position of power, including our mayor, to hear our cry from the heart to please help take the temperature down and provide leadership that makes every New Yorker feel safe in this glorious city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Assembly Member. We're going to hear next from the rabbi here from the Jewish Center, Rabbi Yosef Levine, but I want to also ask to join him right by, near him in solidarity, a number of rabbis who are with here, him as well. Rabbi Hain, Rabbi Ain, Rabbi Sherman, Rabbi Joanna Samuels, Skydell, Steinmetz, Mosbacher, Herman, Ari Berman, Ashira Konigsberg, Charles Sevener, Todd Kipnis, Rabbi Potasnik, the head of the Board of Rabbis, we would thank Rabbi, Benny Cross, Spratt Fursko. So Rabbi Levine, thank you.
Our thoughts and our prayers are with Chuck and with Moshe. Yesterday we observed the holiday of Tisha B'Av, the darkest day on the Jewish calendar. Our community came together here at the Jewish Center to mourn the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, to remember the victims of the Crusades and the Inquisition and the Holocaust. It was meant to be a day to commemorate the tragedies that have befallen the Jewish people throughout our history. But when a member of our community was stabbed on his way out of the synagogue, the evil we gathered to remember stopped belonging to the past. Suddenly, it was right here in the present. When public officials repeatedly cast the Jewish community as a stand-in for actions of the Israeli government to create a climate in which Jews become targets. You know, when I was growing up, the only time we saw security outside of my synagogue or outside of my Jewish day school was when the mayor came to speak. The police were there to protect him. Today, every time the mayor speaks, we need the police to protect us. Jewish life in America is starting to feel like Jewish life in Europe. Armed guards, bulletproof glass, and the constant fear that yesterday's rhetoric will turn into today's assault. So many people know Moshe, so many people care about him. He was just trying to pray at his synagogue, and now we're the ones praying for his recovery. To have been stabbed 200 feet from the Jewish center evokes all the worst images of the Jewish past. If a Jew can't feel safe walking home from shul in broad daylight on a Thursday afternoon on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, then something has gone profoundly wrong, not only for the Jewish community, but for our city. I want to thank Micah for calling right away to offer his support. I want to thank Jessica Tisch and the NYPD for their swift response, and I want to thank all the communal leaders who have come together today. We may not share the same religion, but we share the same faith. Faith in the dignity of every human being, and faith that together we can help rebuild this great city and make it safe for every New Yorker once again.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Levine, to all the rabbis here. I want to call up next the local council member who I want you to know was in contact with me throughout the day, making sure we had all the facts, that everyone felt supported and safe and respected, because that's the way Gail always operates. One of the most dynamic council members always. Please welcome council member Gail Brewer.
Thank you very much, Mark, and I want to thank JCRC, and I want to thank UJA, and certainly all the rabbis here. This is a community of caring and love and commitment to the neighborhood. I think I can say that on behalf of all of the individuals are here. I do want to thank NYPD, the 2-4 and the 2-0, and the commissioner's office called immediately with updates. As you know, they quickly arrested the individual who had stabbed 2 people. His name is Raul Morales. He did run into 589 Amsterdam, which is a NYCHA building. And for what it sounds like, to the credit of the NYCHA residents who lived there, it was a good Samaritan from that building who identified where he was. I know the building well, and I just want to point out the goodness of NYCHA residents. The Manhattan DA is holding the perpetrator, and I'm sure he will do with NYPD the proper investigation. I'm so glad that the 2 individuals who were stabbed are in stable condition in the hospital. I know that Mount Sinai, I still call it St. Luke's, has great doctors and will take care of them. The horror of all of this never seems to end. We've heard over and over again today the number of horror that has taken place in terms of against the Jewish community and the Asian community, and it never seems to end. I have to say, when I heard about the stabbing on West 84th Street in Central Park West of an Asian man and another Jewish individual on West 86th Street in Amsterdam, right here by the Jewish Center, and I heard that the same person, according to wonderful Commissioner Tisch, shouting Allahu Akbar at both of them, I thought to myself, this person is mentally ill, and it never stops. It seemed to me that this hate crime never stops, and we heard from Eric Goldstein that sometimes when you are mentally ill, you just take, and it's no excuse, but you take that, what you hear, as Damani Williams say, and you say it over and over again. We have so many scourges. One of them is hatred, and one of them is mental illness, and we never seem to fix either one to be addressed correctly. And that's what is so upsetting to me. Here we have a city that has all the resources possible, and we can't figure out how to do education. We can't figure out how to make sure that people are really arrested, I have to say, based on hate crimes. I like love, but only to a certain extent, I'll be honest with you. When somebody commits a crime like that, they have to be prosecuted to the furthest extent. So I'm here today, like everybody else, very concerned about my beloved community and the fact that we are on the news and in the media as having a situation that again brings to light the hate that we're trying so hard to get rid of, and the fact that mental illness is on our streets. We not only fear, to be honest with you, anti-Semitism and anti-Asian hate, But the other fear that people have walking down the street is mental illness. And we have to address both of them. So I thank everyone for being here today, for JCRC and UJA for bringing us together. And I think this is a call. Sometimes what is it that is going to bring the issue to rest? And I would love to see the Upper West Side. This is our moment to say enough is enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council Member. I want to call up next a leader who stood in solidarity with us when hate targeted Sion Cafe. Always by the side of the community, for all communities, whether it's Jewish, Chinese, you name it, the Manhattan Borough President, Brad Hoylman-Siegel.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brad Hoylman-Siegel, Manhattan Borough President. Thank you, JCRC, UJA, for bringing us together. Thank you to the faith leaders across different dimensions of understanding across our city. To echo what has been said earlier, is what we need at this moment. A lowering of the temperature of rhetoric and understanding and reaching across our differences to ensure that all of our communities, AAPI, Jewish, and everyone else, remain safe. I'm heartsick that this incident happened in Manhattan, no less the Upper West Side, one of the most vibrant Jewish communities in the world. Just to share an anecdote from my perspective as a proud Jewish parent. My daughter, Lucy, is at sleepaway camp and has an Israeli counselor. When they visit the small town where the camp resides, the counselor has asked that they use her English name, not her Israeli and Hebrew name. My other daughter, who is also at sleepaway camp, went to purchase necklaces with her friends, and they all decided to choose maps of Israel rather than stars of David, because they thought the maps of Israel would be less distinguishable here among the public in New York City. To think that our children are confronting anti-Semitism in the most basic way is extremely unsettling, but I think it represents what we all feel as Jews and as supporters of the Jewish community here in Manhattan and across the city. We have to do better, and I'm really thankful that so many leaders are here calling for that action.
Thank you, Borough President. I mentioned earlier some organizations who are here from us. I'd ask for their reps to join me up here as well, just to stand near us in solidarity. We thank them from Teach. Thank you, ADL, from AJC, from Aguda, from IAC, from Nissan, from the Simon Wiesenthal Center. Also, thank you to the Interfaith Center of New York, Board of Rabbis. Apologies if I missed anyone. I think we heard from a lot of important people, a lot of important messages. But to me, and I share this also as a former teacher and a former politician, I'll close with this and happy to take some questions. Foundational to your ability to govern is the ability to bring folks together. That is foundational to anyone in leadership position. And if folks do not feel safe, and I want to be very clear, I've spoken to a number of folks in the community, not just yesterday, not just today, but for quite some time. There are many folks not feeling okay. And we need to name it and say it. We're strong, we're resilient, we're going to get through this, but we're not okay. And that's the challenge of leadership, to make sure that every person in our city, Jewish, Asian, South Asian, you name it, Black, Latino, that everyone feels safe, seen, and supported in the city of New York. That is foundational to governance. And I'll also say a note to politicians. What might seem to be an effective comm strategy that could generate tons of clicks and views might not be a good governing strategy, because it has day-to-day implications on the people that you serve and represent. So, as you heard from Eric Goldstein, we're not going anywhere. We might be hurt But we're not broken. We will never shatter the spirit of our people and shatter the spirit of New Yorkers. We've come this far, we're not going back. But we're going to hold folks accountable to make sure that every New Yorker feels safe, supported in the greatest city in the world, New York. Thank you all for making it out here today. Thank you to the Jewish Center for hosting us. Thank you to UJ Federation, to all of our leaders and partners. And with that, happy to answer any questions.
Hi, Sarah Williamson from Newsmax. My question is to anyone who's willing to answer it, but I would specifically would like to ask, get an answer from Mr. Levine, the comptroller. Why isn't the mayor here? Everyone else is making out here today. Why is he not here?
I will tell you that I think you heard here today, that every leader is responsible to make sure everyone feels safe and supported. That includes the mayor of New York.
So
That includes the mayor. I'll leave it to the mayor and his office to answer their scheduling questions. I am here to make sure that our community, all of our communities, are being heard today, because if we did not gather here today, what message would that send? And there are some folks who asked us, what are you doing by doing this here today? What changes? What message would it send if we were not here today? It is not normal. This is not normal. And that's what we have to call out, and we'll continue to call out. Next, anyone else? Yes, Marcia.
There's been a lot of rhetoric about the mayor, his social media posts, and his press conferences. The question is, what are you asking Mayor Mamdani to do that will make Jewish New Yorkers, Asian New Yorkers, and others feel safe? Are you asking him to go off social media? Are you asking him to tone it down? Are you asking him to stop attacking Israel and Bibi Netanyahu?
I'll let Eric answer first.
The short answer, Marcia, is yes to all of them. We want the mayor to stop demonizing the only Jewish state, using the most vilifying rhetoric, focus solely on the only Jewish state and the supporters of it, using language like monsters, using the most horrible, difficult language that inflames, that terrorizes, that causes people to do terrible things, and creates the community against whom it's being said the feeling of really being targeted, isolated, and unsafe. His video message about the Prime Minister was political grandstanding. Mark said it as good as it could be said. Calm strategy is not an appropriate governance strategy. We need to be responsible. This is the largest Jewish community in the world outside of Israel. His words have profound real-world consequence on us. And shame on him for doing this for perceived political benefit when it has real-world consequence for the Jews of New York. He must stop. He must stop.
May I just follow up?
Sure.
I guess the question also becomes this. The question becomes this. Whether or not this turns out to be a person who had mental problems or he was targeting Jews because they're Jews, are you really saying that because words can put ideas in people's heads, that the mayor's words can cause people with mental illness to do things and act out?
I think that we've seen over and over again, incredibly tragically, that words, that demonizing rhetoric, have profound real-world consequence. The fact that this assailant may have had mental illness doesn't change the fact, as I said before, that it's precisely that kind of person that's most susceptible to this kind of environment. But not only. We have many, many instances of people screaming Allahu Akbar and attacking Jews simply for being Jewish who weren't mentally ill. This is a dangerous time for our community, for our world, and we need to be responsible in how we govern, recognizing the realities of the moment.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Eric. And as I said earlier before, and you heard it also from Speaker Menon and the borough president, there are parents having difficult conversations with their kids. However this case ultimately lands, the damage is done. There are a fresh round of conversations, not new conversations, about whether it's safe to wear a kippah outside New York, whether it's safe to wear a Magen David outside in the city of New York, whether or not the synagogues can afford another security guard hours away from the Shabbat services, camps getting calls from parents, what are you doing to keep our kids safe? Those calls are happening regardless of how this case is labeled. That's a lived reality for folks. That's what elected officials have to deal with. And the question for them, what are you doing to lower the temperature and make folks feel safe and supported? That's the question. Last question. Yes, Julia.
Yeah, Mark. First of all, was the mayor invited?
What I could tell you is that a whole range of folks from city governments, state government, and beyond are aware that this event is here, but I am less interested about one particular person here or not, and more about making sure that we're in solidarity with this community, both the Jewish community here and the Asian community, that we're here for them. That is the main focus of here today, and to send a message to everyone that you must demonstrate leadership in this moment. That's my main message here today, and we thank you all for being here today. Thank you all so much.